Okay, well, good morning.
Good morning.
It's so nice to be behind the podium. I was like, oh, I hope I can stand here. I'm still a little wobbly, but it's so great to see you again. So I want to welcome everyone to Sunday morning at the Center for Spiritual Living Carlsbad here in this room, and also our friends who are watching us online, as we come together to celebrate and know and remember the truth that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and that we can use it. And so let's just relax for a moment as we begin with a spiritual mind treatment. So first of all, I remind myself of the essential truth that this is a spiritual universe, that there is nothing but spirit. And so, of course, each one of us must then be made of the substance of spirit itself. And since this is true, then I know that I am and we are each spiritual beings, united, unique individualizations of this great cosmic goodness, always yearning to be in expression through us, as us, and for us. And so, with confidence, I claim good. I claim good out picturing for each and every one of us gathered together, for each and every one of us affiliated with this center in any way, and for all of those with whom we are connected. And specifically, I know that this very moment, this very morning, good is established right here and now as we plant the seeds of joy, knowledge, and truth together this morning. I give thanks for this wondrous, amazing, good now unfolding. And I simply turn my treatment over to spirit understanding that it is already done, and inviting you to know this with me by saying with me, and so it is. Thank you. So I'll turn it over to our musician, Joe Rathburn, who is going to get you to rise and shine.
Put our hands together. I thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Beautiful. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. My friends, thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Beautiful day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing. healing, this healing day, this healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you. Everybody say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great job, everyone. Now, if you have a program or if you have it memorized, please look in your program and let's do the group reading together. There is one life, both visible and invisible, one presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect love and perfect intelligence. I am an individualized expression of all that it is. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect intelligence. Thank you. And now it's time for a song from Joe.
Both my songs today are going to be about journeys. And the first one is a journey that I dreamed. I woke up one morning and wrote down the words to this song verbatim, just as you're going to hear it today, without taking my pen off the paper. Just got lucky. Once upon a dream, I built a boat, but I had to teach her how to float. Once she learned real well. She had a sail, she had a bell. So I rang her bell, I raised her sail. I took her out in a full force gale. Then she sank, so I had to swim. I swam into a fish named Jim. Jim said, Joe, you're mighty brave, but I think you ought to catch that wave. So I caught a wave and surfed ashore to a place I'd never been before, where the trees were purple, the grass was blue, the sky was bright, and the folks was too. They took me in, they made me king, a crown, a throne, and everything. They said, oh sire, what's your desire? I said, let me sit here by your fire, just so I can warm my toes and contemplate just what it is that makes life great. When I was through, I said, okay, so what can I do to make your day? They said, oh king, we must concede that we've got everything we need, and we've just learned to spread it round, so peace and love and joy abound. I said, what a concept. I must roam so I can tell all the folks back home. I sprouted wings, I flew away. Just got back the other day, and I told everyone I knew about those purple trees and the grass of blue, and the happy bright folk that I had found. They said, man, all this time we thought you'd drown, but now we know you're just insane, 'cause anyone with half a brain knows that peace and love and joy, they're just ideas. And fear and war, that's the way it is. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm building me a boat. And once I've taught her how to float, I'm gonna ring her bell, I'm gonna raise her sail. take her out in another gale. Maybe I'll get lucky twice and wind up back in paradise. Well, I know that sounds like fantasy, but that's just where I long to be. And maybe it's just in my mind, but someday soon I know I'll find it everywhere I journey to. And I know I'll wind up there with you. Yes, I know, I really do. I know I'll wind up there with you. I know I'll wind up there with you. Yes, I'll wind up there with you. Once upon a dream, once upon a dream. Thank you.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good.
Happy?
Happy.
All right. One of the funny things about doing this every week, I was speaking to someone before out in the lobby, and I said, how can you do that every week? I said, I live for it. It's what I do. I love speaking about this teaching more than anything else in the world. But funny things happen to ministers. You prepare a talk during the week, you're all set to go, and you wake up on Sunday morning and you say to yourself, why did I want to talk about that? And it doesn't happen very often, but it happened today. And so as mind would have it, I was led to get on my computer, and I started reading an article by a woman named Katie Weaver, who writes for The Atlantic. And she had written this article about what it's like to be one of the impersonators of the Civil War or the American Revolution, which you see on the East Coast a lot, in Williamsburg, and those kind of places. And she said, for those people, it can be a very enlightening experience to see firsthand that history is not a logical march toward an inevitable destination, but as a free-for-all dash subjected to the whims of regular people. It could end up anywhere. And I just about jumped out of my seat when I read that, because I thought that is what we saw this weekend, where millions of Americans were out professing their love for this country, and it could end up anywhere. But the power is in the people. And what each one of those people had was a perception of reality, that there's more for us, that there's good inherently in our nature and in this country. And so that's what I wanted to speak about this morning. That was my original talk, was about perception, because it means everything. Perception is everything. And I wrote something the other day I thought I'd start off with too, that's in line with that quote. There's a paragraph from Emerson's Spiritual Laws essay that is well known. It begins with be and not seem. Have you ever read that and wondered, what does that mean? Be and not seem. This is a direct quote, the meaning of which may have many interpretations, but it's what he wrote after that defines it for me. He said, let us take our bloated nothingness out of the path of the divine circuits. A very famous quote. He is cautioning us not to succumb to the demands of the ego or the local self or the perception of limitation, which is useful in certain instances to see what the limitations are, but to stand in our own authentic light as much as possible. We're to be real if we want our higher nature to come through us, lavishing us with its gifts. And so that's where I want to start today. And where I really started when I began this talk was I read an article about people who've had near-death experiences. They call them NDEs. And I talked about this a few weeks ago, I think. My own mother had a couple of them. But the article was about how isolated they can feel because they're afraid to tell people. And many people who have this experience are wary of relating it to family or friends for fear of being ridiculed, laughed at, or just dismissed, or like, you just made it up kind of thing. So they keep it to themselves. But the point is they are deeply changed. Their perception of life has really changed because they perceived another aspect of reality that we don't get in our walking around local mind state of consciousness. So one of the perceptions that they change is they're no longer a fear of death. That was my mother. She said, I'll never be afraid of death again. It's a beautiful thing. And I didn't want to come back here. And so that seems to be across the board the experience. But many of these people made significant choices because of the experience. Maybe they decided to be very different in their relationship or even to leave a relationship. Some of them sought out spiritual teachings, such as this one, which allowed them to consider the experience as something profound rather than something to be ridiculed, something that supported the concept of ongoing life. You know, ErnestHolmes, you all know the name. He founded this teaching and he wrote that wonderful book, The Science of Mind, and many others. He said, we're immortal now. We are immortal now. We don't become immortal. We are immortal now. And what he meant was, we define life and death in ways that support the idea that life is an ongoing cycle, a cycle of rebirth and renewal. So we define life as consciousness. The universe is conscious. We are conscious. We come from that consciousness. Death is a transition from one form to another. That our physical bodies are the emanation of the vibration of awareness of being. And they come and go, as it were. Even throughout our lifetime, our bodies have changed drastically. Oh my gosh, can I attest to that? When you get to be in your 80s, you look in the mirror and you think, how did that happen? And it's just natural. Bodies change, but we become very attached to them. And of course, we need to be in certain circumstances to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves out of danger. But when someone has one of these near-death experiences, they are less physically attached. And this is what's interesting. The less physically we are attached, the more present we actually are, the more we can be and not seem. It's an odd little dichotomy. So we forget that there's much more to us than our physical self. It's a perception. So I called this talk The Rest of Us because we have a universal component. And that is one of the parts of this teaching that changed my perception of reality, is the understanding that we came from the universe. We arose out of it, and we're arising out of it every minute. And that we draw from it when our perception is open to it. If we get all of our information from the outer world, everything is coming from this way, we miss one of the most beautiful experiences of awareness, which is I am greater than that. There's something about me that's transcendent of that can affect that. So therefore, I'm not a victim. Therefore, I'm a participant. And we move from being manipulated by life to become a co-creator of life. I call this aspect, and I said this before, the rest of me, the best of me, the not yet expressed of me. For me, that's a perfect definition of my universal self. It's also a pretty good definition of spirit. It's the rest of us. It's the best of us that we haven't yet tapped into, but it is forever available and forever accessible through the pathway of those divine circuits. We don't want to block them with our bloated fear of anything, right? Emerson was a really cool guy. Probably one of the most important essays we can read is that one of Spiritual Laws. I really recommend Emerson if you haven't read him. Okay, let me see what else I wrote here. It makes sense that if we are in an individualization of something universal, that we also have a universal aspect to our human nature. And that's the conclusion that ErnestHolmes came to when he wrote The Science of Mind. So what this means to me is very simple. I got two choices. I can live my life wholly from what I observe out there. I can live my life completely from referring to my own past, my DNA, my ancestors, my family, what I think I inherited. I can live my life handling things, coping with things, making the best of things, and it'll be a good life. It'll be a normal life. I'll have some wins and some losses, and I'll get sick and I'll get well, and maybe I'll have a money problem one day and I'll win the lottery the next. It's a complete possibility of shifts and change, and it's a good life. So there's nothing wrong with that. Most people in the world live like that. That's a perception. That stuff happens and you have to deal with it, right? You change that one and everything changes. So everything becomes very different, a different possibility if I somehow stumble upon the truth of the universal part of me. I stumbled upon this teaching. It's a long story and I won't belabor it, but I was driving up Kuakini Highway in Hawaii, and I realized I hadn't felt the presence of spirit for years. And I had always known it was there when I was a child. And I said out loud before I knew I was going to say it, I don't know where you went, God, but I want you back. Well, I was totally anti-religion, totally anti-church. So I don't know how, I was very surprised to hear myself say that. But the very next day, my friend Myrna called me up and said, 2 guys are coming from Hilo. They're going to teach transcendental meditation. Do you want to go? I said, yes. So we did, and I learned how, and my mind cracked open. And it had to before I could ever walk into one of these centers, because I was not going to go to any church. But it so happened, did I tell you the story before? Oh, good. You know, when you talk for 40 years, you can't remember who you said what to. I was doing hair at the Kona Inn, which was a treehouse. And it has this little staircase. It was pretty cool. I got to go to work in shorts and, you know, really cool. These 2 ladies walked up. They were older people, and there were other beauty salons in the village of Kona, but they found me. And they walked up those stairs, these 2 older women, and they started talking about consciousness. Now, I had been meditating for I think 2 months at that point. And I've been reading all these esoteric books that my brother had that I never could read before meditation. And I said, well, that's true. I know that's true. Mind is everything. And they said, oh, well, you need to come to our church because we're visiting from LA and my husband's going to speak. And I said, nope, don't go to church. Don't want any part of it. And they said, no. This is what we talk about. So I went, my life changed. Those women were a religious science minister and a religious science practitioner. They came to the most remote landmass on the planet, which is Hawaii. They found me when they could have chosen many other easier to get at beauty salons. They walked up those stairs. They came and got me, let's face it. They came and got me. That was the answer to my statement. I don't know where you went, God, but I want you back. Now, note, it didn't put me in a Baptist church. It put me in a religious science church. And that was stunningly perfect for me, because the first thing out of my mouth when I heard the minister speak was, oh my God, I found it. Finally, something rings true to me, because nothing ever did before that. And I started going, taking classes, and this is what happened. 40-year career. All right. So my point is, perception changes everything. And from that day forward, my perception was very different about who I am and what's possible for me. This doesn't mean that I don't sometimes block the divine circuits. We all do. It's a tightrope we walk in this limited world and with a unlimited spirit as this body. So everything becomes very, very different. One of the very practical things that happens to us with a shift in perception is that maybe we're able to grasp the significance of these events that are happening in a way that isn't scary, threatening, but in a way that says, aha, something's trying to happen here. Humanity is pushing itself in a direction, and that direction creates, the push creates some chaos. So we're seeing some chaos, but it's because a new order's forming. And we have to be part of it and be patient and perceive it and see through it and expect something new to happen. So I might grasp the greater idea in any situation, which gives me more choices. I have many choices that I didn't have before I understood the rest of me, the best of me. See, it isn't that the world stops being what it is. It will always be what it is. An exercise in polar opposites. That's Adam and Eve walked into that. They got to name everything. And so the story goes. And everything is polar opposites, up and down, light and dark, good and bad, love and indifference. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So where we are on the spectrum of polar opposites is determined by our perception. Determined by our perception. Have you ever seen a fly caught in a spider web? It's sad because there's no way out, right? So an exercise is, let me go back. Polar opposites are like a spider web that we can get caught on one end of them. And if we don't perceive possibility, we don't move. For example, love, the spectrum of love is, the low end is indifference. It's not hate, it's indifference. And the high end is oneness with, right? So if we don't perceive the possibility of oneness with, we're going to have some interesting relationships because they'll be based on me and you rather than we, us, and what is possible for us to move into that beautiful space of oneness. But when we liberate ourselves with the perception of wholeness, the perception of the rest of me is coming from this universal aspect, then we are no longer a fly to that spider web. We are now free. And anyone interested in modern spirituality has come to some of that understanding, but it's not easy to maintain the universal aspect. So this is what I love so much about this teaching, and ErnestHolmes in particular, is that he was practical. He called this practical mysticism. He called this spirituality that has a methodology to it. So we have tools, and we know what they are. They are meditation and spiritual mind treatment and study and contemplation, being in nature, seeing through things, affirming. But there's just so many wonderful tools that keep us at least somewhat aware that there's the rest of us. There's more to us than meets the eye. So it takes a good deal of practice when you're living in this time-space reality. And we need to take advantage of all those tools. So one of the best practices is something you can do just every day, is to think from the wholeness that you are. Traditional prayer is thinking from the part to the whole, like, I'm here, God's there, and I need to somehow contact that power so that wholeness can come and help me. Whereas in spiritual mind treatment or in this teaching, we think from the wholeness. We don't ask God for anything. We attempt to make personal statements as if God were speaking. And so, it's like, I think I said this before, but I repeat myself. The Christians say, what would Jesus think? And we say, what would God say about this? What would an infinite, universal wholeness that knows no limitation have to say from the I am about my situation? And that's how we begin to frame our thinking. I am love and joy. I am peace and harmony. Not I want, I am. And the way I experience any of those things is by expressing them, expressing my universal self. So it's more than knowing about it. It's coming on Sunday. It's spiritual community. It's retreats. It's reading good books about the subject, inspirational books, wonderful music. It's keeping ourselves tuned in to this vibration, this universal vibration that's everything, and learning to think from the whole to the part. So it's thinking from the I am. So one of the simple affirmations is whatever we're going through, and I never, in fact, ErnestHolmes taught this, we never dismiss the facts. We live in a world of facts, but there's always a greater truth behind them. So we don't say, I'm not sick. We say, I'm experiencing something in my physical life that is challenging me, but I know I'm greater than this. And if I weren't, I couldn't heal it. It couldn't heal. I am greater than this experience of whatever it is. And right now, the human race is greater than the experience we are having because we are creating it. Perhaps unconsciously, but we are creating it. So try this one. This is very old-fashioned, but it's fun to say out loud. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise right now.
Right now.
So it's a matter of how much of that am I expressing? That's how much of it I get to experience. I can experience my own wealth even if I'm nearly broke by circulating it in a conscious way. Might be giving a dime to someone on the street. Maybe you don't have $100 to hand, but you got $1. Circulation, participating, I'm expressing the wealth, and it begins to increase the more we participate. That's true of everything. So if we don't release, here's another one. I welcome the new, I release the old. Say it. I welcome the new, I release the old. We create tension when we resist what is temporary, and everything is temporary. That tension results in stuck energy. And we start blocking the divine circuits, blocking the natural movement that allows for newness to appear. ErnestHolmes was one of the first people to express this in everyday language. The teacher of mind power, he said, the best attitude to have is a divine shrug of the shoulders. Fine if it does, fine if it doesn't. People say, whoa, wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to say exactly what we want as if it's already so? How can we go, fine if it does, fine if... He says, it's another way of saying, I am greater than any experience, whatever it is. So if this doesn't happen, something better will. If we have that perception. Life matches our perception. It's not about what we want, it's about what we see. It's about what we believe. It's about what we project as truth. So he wasn't being flippant when he said that, but showing us the power of release, how to choose to be happy, meaning, and what does it mean to be happy? Pleasantly expectant, cheerful in the moment, peaceful, and we begin to feel the shift in the energy. So my new motto is, I let it go and I watch it flow. And when I let things go intentionally, it means I'm participating in them. I'm circulating my good, whatever it may be, whatever I have to offer. And so that's true for all of us. Who in this room is ready to participate in the grand shift of human experience? Thank you, Jessica. Don't mistake anything other than that happening, because that's what's happening. And those millions of people that were out there saying, I love America, I love the Constitution, I love the rule of law, I love democracy, they were projecting their perception that it is possible. and it's happening now. So we do that with every aspect of our life, and wonderful things happen. Namaste. And so it is. And now, Joe.
I'm on a trip, could last a million years. I'm on a trip, could last a million years. Yeah, I'm taking only faith along. I'm gonna leave behind my fears. I'm on a trip, could last a million years. Walking only roads that lead me back to love. Walking only roads that lead me back to love. Mighty like an eagle, gentle as a dove. Walking only roads that lead me back to love. Thinking only thoughts that speak the highest truth. Thinking only thoughts that speak the highest truth. The wisdom of the ages, the innocence of youth. Thinking only thoughts that speak the highest truth. Seeking ways to keep an open mind. Seeking all the ways to keep an open mind. Yeah, I'm shaking off the blinders for to see the good I find. I'm seeking all the ways to keep an open mind. I'm trying to remember who I am. Yes, I'm trying to remember who I am. You see, my soul knew on the very day my life on earth began. And now I'm trying to remember who I am. So many lessons to learn, it could take many lifetimes to learn them. I better wake up and start today. Each day is a favor that's done me. I know I can never return them, but I'll make the most of them, I pray. Hey, 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 hey. I wanna be a better me before I die. I wanna be a better me before I die. So when I leave this world behind, don't any of you cry. A better me will be flying free the day I die. I'm on a trip, could last a million years. I'm on a trip, could last a million years. I'm taking only faith along, gonna leave behind my fears. I'm on a trip, could last a million. Yeah, it could last a million. Oh, it could last a million years. A million years. A million years. A million years. What is a million years?
Okay, that was great. And while you were singing that song, Joe, it reminded me of one of the most famous affirmations that was given to us by Émile Coué, a Frenchman around 1900. Every day in every way, I am getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong with that one. So thank you, Joe. Well, it's our time for conscious giving. And I know that some people give monthly or through Venmo, and Jim is here to collect anyone who wants to actually give cash or a check. We still take those, so we're so grateful. But before we do that, if you could look in your programs, let's say together, divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I am, and all that I give. I know this is so, and so it is. And then let's sing.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, everyone. And let's just know together that we are prosperous, that our lives are filled with blessings, and that the center is also growing and prosperous. I think when fall comes upon us, and I was thinking about the fall that I recently had, how life sometimes seems like it's giving us some kicks in the behind, that we have to get over. But there's always something to grab onto, which is our faith and spirit. And to always remember that there is good for us, that we just need to open our hearts and our minds and let it into our lives. So there was some good that happened this week. And although they're not here today for obvious reasons, yesterday was Pat and Conrad Zagwin's 50th anniversary. And I know that a few people from our congregation were there and might have eaten a little too much cake. So, but still, it's so nice to know that they reached that milestone. It's a wonderful accomplishment. So today is Potluck Sunday, so I hope you can all stay and enjoy that with us. And I also wanted to say, I'll put it out in our email later, that next week is the last Sunday before Halloween. And so everyone is invited to wear a costume, wear a hat. Oh, look, Daryl's putting on a little slideshow he made. Are you going to narrate it or do you want me to? Okay. Hey there, mateys. Next Sunday, we're having a little Halloween fun. Everyone is invited to wear your favorite costume or maybe just a hat. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to read that. That's old news. Spiritual mind treatment request forms. Yes, we have more spiritual mind treatment request forms. They're in the lobby. And we also have practitioner Robert is here. Reverend Dr. Lori is here. Dr. Carol and I are all here. And we love to do treatment for you on Sundays. And then the other thing is that I just want to remind everyone that this is the season of gratitude that is upon us. Next month, we're all going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. It's the next big holiday after Halloween. Halloween is for silliness. Thanksgiving is for gratefulness, two good things. And so today, it's 40 days before Thanksgiving, and we do have some gratitude journals. So if you want to pick one up and begin, I know some of you always do it, but some of us don't. But just begin every day writing down 5 or 10 things that you're grateful for as a real way to build up that feeling of gratitude. And I'd like to take a moment. You know, this is a time when we just thank our volunteers. And of course, today, everything is beautiful. So I want to thank Jessica for setup and greeting, and Maddie and Nuku for the flowers. And Jan is going to get up in a minute and help with the candle lighting, and Daryl and Johnny for the video and the sound, and Jim for helping with the setup also. But I really want to thank everyone who has been pitching in for the last almost 2 months now, when I have abandoned my post. And everything has kept going, and it's been so wonderful to discover I am not indispensable. The center has a life and a history and a beingness of its own that is all created out of love. And I am so grateful for everyone. So let's give ourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you so much. And now, as we get ready to close, I'd like to invite Jan up as we light a few candles, kind of as our takeaway. You know, let's remember why it is we came here. We came here to celebrate and recognize this thing called life. So first, we light a candle for life. Life is everywhere present, flowing through each and every one of us. There is only one life. That life is God's life, and that life is our life now. So please affirm with me, I am life. We light a candle for love. The birth of love happens within each one of us every time we make room for the Christ consciousness in our hearts and recognize our unity. We are points of love within the heart of God. Please affirm with me, I am love. We light a candle for light. The light of God is the presence and the power. We are always walking in the light. We radiate the light of God wherever we are. Please affirm with me, I am light. We light a candle for beauty. We're made in the likeness and image of God, out of God itself, the only thing there is. We are each whole, complete, and beautiful just as we are, and we accept the beauty of God's perfection as our perfection now. So please affirm with me, I am beauty. We light a candle for joy. Joy is the very nature of spirit and the true essence of each of us. We celebrate the joy of our own rebirth in the God consciousness. We each bring joy to the world. Please affirm with me, I am joy. And we light a candle for peace today and every day. We open our hearts to peace. We are each a center of peace in our world. So please affirm with me, I am peace. And finally, I invite you to take a moment to recognize your own inner light that is always shining within as we each honor our own metaphysical path of wholeness, oneness, and mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles, which are ours to rely upon also. and also enable us to let our own light shine out. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, everyone. And shall we have a closing treatment? Okay. Let's just know together the truth, that there is a power for good, that we are one with it. It flows into our lives and out from our lives because it is all there is. It is good. It goes with us wherever we are. It illuminates our path. It illuminates our heart. And as we allow ourselves to be more and more open to this good, it radiates through us, for us, and from us. This is the truth. I give thanks for this amazing good that is ours to enjoy and share. I let go. I let God. I give thanks. And so it is. Thank you. So, if you want to rise, we've got a group song.
Here we go. Open your heart, let your love go free, out over the ocean, right across the street. Let it flow like a river, let it fly like a dove, till your heart remembers, can't stop love. Once you get it started, watch what it does. It'll go.